Hi everyone, this is Nihar sir. So today I will teach you in 5th semester automotive transmissions. There are 7 chapters and the book you have to recommend. The book for recommendation Automobile Engineering by R.K. Rajput. Automobile Engineering by R.K. Rajput. This book you can follow for automotive transmission subject. So first we will discuss what is automobile. Automobile. The word automobile, if you divide this word into two parts, that is one is auto, another is mobile. Auto. What is auto means? Auto means itself or self. Auto means itself. And mobile means which can move. Itself, auto means itself, mobile means move. So overall we can say automobile means which can move by itself. Which can move by itself. That you can say automobile. Combining we can say automobile means which can move by itself. Which can move by itself is known as automobile. So write automobile. We can say which can move by itself is known as automobile. So what is an automobile? An automobile is a self-propelled vehicle. Automobile is a self-propelled vehicle driven by an internal combustion engine used for transportation of passengers as well as goods on ground. That means automobile is a self-propelled vehicle which can move by itself, driven by an internal combustion engine. That means it will drive by an internal combustion engine. There will be an engine there, that is called internal combustion engine, and used for what is the purpose of use this automobile? Used for transportation of passenger and goods. Transportation of passengers and goods on ground. It only move on the ground. So at the definition, an automobile is a self-propelled vehicle. Automobile is a self-propelled vehicle driven by an internal combustion engine. Driven by an internal combustion engine used for transportation of passengers as well as goods. Passenger as well as goods on ground. Goods on ground. So what is automobile? An automobile is a self-propelled vehicle driven by an internal combustion engine used for transportation of goods and passengers on ground. This is the definition of automobile. And examples of automobiles: examples of automobile in our day-to-day life, we will find scooter, bike, car, bus, truck, tractor, etc. are the examples of automobile. And introduction. Introduction part. A automobile generally consists of a frame which supports the body along with some power producing and transmitting units which is supported by your wheels and tires by the help of spring and axles. Right? In general, an automobile consists of a frame which supports the body. Every automobile there will be a body which supports body along with a power producing and transporting unit. With the help of wheels and tires. By axles or springs. This is the construction of automobile. It consists of frame which supports the body. Above the frame, the body will be placed. So these are frame, body. Next, power producing and transporting units. Power producing, that means engine. Transporting units, these are clutch, gearbox, flywheel, propeller shaft, etc. And which are supported by wheels and tires. You can say wheels and tires are there. Supported by axle and spring. These wheels and tires are fixed with the frame by the help of axle and spring. So next, right, what is automobile engineering? Automobile engineering. Here you will in third year, in the second year, you will also know about what is automobile engineering. So today I will tell you what is automobile engineering. Automobile engineering is the branch of engineering where we will study about all the automobiles. And have practice to propel them. And we will gain some practice to propel these automobiles. So right, what is automobile engineering? It is the branch of engineering. Where we will study about all the automobiles to propel them, and then practice to propel them. This is about automobile engineering. Note down it. Now write next another term, transmission system. Transmission system. Here the subject is automotive transmission. We will start discuss. We have discussed already what is automotive. Then we will discuss what is transmission. That is transmission system. A mechanism which transmits the power produced in the engine to the driving wheel is known as transmission system. The mechanism involved for the transmission of power produced in the engine to the driven wheel is known as transmission system, or you can say power train. Transmission system. The mechanism through which the power which is produced in the engine is transmitted to the driving wheel is known as transmission system, or you can say power train, The mechanism through which the power produced in the engine is transmitted to the driving wheel is known as transmission system. Power is produced in the engine, then some parts the power is transmitted to the driving wheel. That means in the two-wheel drive, the driving wheel is rear wheel. In the four-wheel drive, the driving wheel is the rear wheel and also the front wheel. So the mechanism through which the power transmits from engine to the driving wheel is known as transmission system or power train. So what are composed this transmission system? So it means the transmission system. The transmission system composed of, after the engine, what part? That is clutch, then gearbox, then propeller shaft, then universal joint, then differential, then rear axle, simply axle, next wheel, next and tires. It composed of clutch, next gearbox, propeller shaft, universal joint, differential, axle, wheel and tires. These are the units of transmission systems. If question will be asked in the examination, what are the units of transmission system? You will simply write the units of transmission systems are clutch, gearbox, propeller shaft, universal joints, differential, rear axle, wheels and tires. These are the units of transmission system. In the next class in this chapter we will study each term. That means we will first study clutch, then gearbox, then propeller shaft, then universal joints, then differential, rear axle, wheels and tire. We will discuss all the transmission units in the following classes. So this is the transmission system. This is the units of transmission system. Now I will make a graph where you will find all the transmission units. These are front wheels. This is engine. From the engine, crankshaft. Then is your clutch. After clutch, gearbox. After gearbox, this is universal joints. This is another universal joint. In between two universal joints, there will be one propeller shaft. After that, this is your differential. This is your differential. Here differential. Next, this is your rear axle. This is your rear wheel. So first, these two are front wheel, this is your engine, this is crankshaft, this is clutch, this is gearbox, these two are universal joint, this is propeller shaft, this is differential, these two are rear axle and these two are rear wheel. So this is the total units of transmission system from engine to the rear wheel. Engine, crankshaft, first one is your clutch, next one is your gearbox, next universal joints. In between these two universal joints, one is propeller shaft, after that your differential, then two rear axles and two rear wheel. Units of transmission system. These are the units of transmission system. So in the transmission system, what are the units I have told? Clutch, gearbox, then propeller shaft, universal joint, differential, axle and tires, wheels. So first is the clutch. So this is your first chapter, that is clutch. Chapter 1 is your clutch. So introduction and definition. clutch. So you must have seen in case of bike, in the left hand we have pressed the clutch button. After pressing the gear, we have released the clutch pedal and vehicle moves. And after gear changing, when the gear changing will be there, we will press the clutch. So this clutch is a clutch. A clutch is a mechanism used in the transmission system of an automobile to engage or to disengage the engine with the driving wheel. So what is a clutch? A clutch is a device used in the automobile used in the transmission system of an automobile to engage or to disengage the engine with the driving wheel. So right. A clutch is a device used in transmission system of a motor vehicle. The clutch is a device used in transmission system of motor vehicle to engage or to disengage the engine with the transmission or gearbox. So clutch is a device used in the automotive used in motor vehicles to engage or to disengage the engine with the transmission, or you can say gearbox. That is a clutch. Next, a clutch is a mechanism which enables the rotary motion of one shaft to transmit it to other shaft. Rotary motion of one shaft to transmit it to the other shaft whose axes are coincide with the first one. So what is a clutch mechanism? A clutch is a mechanism. A clutch is a mechanism which enables which enables the rotary motion of one shaft to transmit another shaft whose axes are coincide with the first. That means a clutch mechanism enables the rotary motion of one shaft to transmit this rotary motion to another shaft whose axes are coincide. That means the shaft which is rotating and the shaft which is stationary, these two shafts have same axis of these shafts should have same axis. That means they are in a same axis. This mechanism helps to engage these two shafts. Next point. A clutch is located in between the engine and the gearbox. When the clutch is engaged, the power flows from the engine to the driving wheel and the vehicle moves. When the clutch is disengaged, the power cannot move from the engine to the driving wheel, for which the vehicle cannot move while the engine is still running. But the vehicle cannot move at the time of disengagement of the clutch. So right, a clutch is located between engine and gearbox. Next, when the clutch is engaged, the power flows from engine to driving wheel, and the vehicle moves. But when the clutch is disengaged, the power cannot move from engine to driving wheel, so the vehicle stop. But while vehicle will stop, while the engine is still running. So this is the condition of engagement of clutch and disengagement of clutch. After this, we will study the function of clutch. So what are the functions of clutch? First one is to permit the engagement or disengagement of the gear when the vehicle is stationary and the engine is running. That is the first function. It will engage or disengage the gear when the vehicle is stationary and the engine is running. The second function to transmit the engine power to the gearbox smoothly. Without any shock, without any hesitation to the transmission system for the setting of vehicle to run. So second is to transmit the engine power to the gear smoothly without any shock to the transmission system for setting the vehicle in motion. Then third one is, first one is vehicle in stationary, second part in vehicle in starting position, and the third one is to permit the engagement of the gear when the vehicle is in motion without damaging the gear wheel. Three functions: while the vehicle is stationary engage the gear while the vehicle is going to start smoothly. And third one is engage the gear when the vehicle is in motion. So function of clutch. The clutch performs the following functions. The clutch performs the following functions. So first one is to permit the engagement and disengagement, to permit the engagement and disengagement of the gear when the vehicle is stationary or rest, but the engine is running. The second one, to transmit the engine power, to gearbox smoothly. Transmit the engine power to gearbox smoothly without any shock. Without any shock to the transmission system. Without any shock to the transmission system. To transmit the engine power to gearbox smoothly without any shock to the transmission system while setting the vehicle in motion. And the third one, to permit the engagement of gear when the vehicle is in running condition without damaging the gear wheel. That means three functions of clutch: to permit the engagement or disengagement of the gear while the engine is running but the vehicle is stationary. Second, in the starting position, to transmit the engine power to the gearbox without any shock to the transmission system, that means smoothly. And third one, to permit the engagement of the gear when the vehicle is running. To permit engagement of the gear while the vehicle is running, the engine is also in a running condition. So these are the three functions of clutch. Now next, requirements of clutch. These are askable question in your semester. So what are the requirements of clutch? Why we will use clutch? So what are the requirements? First, it will engage gradually in order to avoid sudden jerk. Second, it will have capacity to transmit maximum torque of the engine. Third, it will able to dissipate the heat. It will able to dissipate maximum heat which is produced during the clutch operation by the friction. Next, it should have dynamically balanced. Next, it has suitable capability to damp vibration and to reduce the noise produced by the friction. It should have as small as possible. It should have as small as possible, so that it will require very less space. Next, the driven material of the clutch should be made light. Next, the friction surface. The friction surface, the wearing the surface should be have maximum life. Next, it has capability to not slip during the engagement. So write the requirements of clutch. First one, it must engage gradually. It must engage gradually in order to avoid sudden jerk. In order to avoid sudden jerk. Second, it must able to transmit maximum torque. It must able to transmit maximum torque produced by engine. Number 3, it must have high heat dissipating capacity. It must have high dissipating capacity, heat dissipating capacity, which is produced during clutch operation, due to friction. Next, it should be dynamically balanced. It should be dynamically balanced. Next, 5, its size must be as small as possible, so that it requires less space. It requires less space. So redundant engage. It must engage gradually in order to avoid sudden jerk. It must able to transmit maximum torque produced by engine. It must have high heat dissipating capacity. It should have dynamically balanced. Its size must be as small as possible. 6. It should have suitable capacity. It should have suitable capacity to damp vibration total capacity to damp vibration and reduce the noise produced during clutch operation. Number 7, the driven material should be made light. The driven material should be made light. 8. The wearing surface must be maximum light. Number 9, it must not be slip during engagement. These are the 9 points of requirements of clutch. Next, we will study types of clutch.